Hey y'all, it's Michaela.
It's Julie,
Welcome to our podcast.
and let's talk about it. So, this episode, before we actually get into the topic, we're gonna do a little mental health check-in, reflect on how January, we just finished the first month of the year. It kind of went by kind of fast, just checking in to see how we're doing. And resolutions, are we sticking with them? Have we started any of them? What's life been? What has life been like this first month?
Mhm. Uh, well, for me, we love that it's February, Black History Month. Let's go, even though every day is our day. But this
Hmm.
month, don't mess with us. Just don't. Just don't. It's our month. Let us have it. Um, but it's been good as terms of New Year's resolution. I told myself that I would read two books in January. I'm not even done with one. It's already February. So I've not been, committing to that. Commitment is the word for 2023, being committed and dedicated.
But it's okay because you've read 30 books this
Mm,
past 6 months. So I feel like you not getting to that goal of two books is fine because you've been busy.
yes. Yes, yes, we have been very busy. Life. Sis has new employment, so we love to see it. Told ourselves we would get out of current job and into a new job. We love
Mm-hmm.
to see it starting soon. Um, but yeah, feeling good, journaling a lot, which has been really helpful because sis has been having a hard time sleeping. And I've noticed that when I write it down before I go to sleep, kind of all comes out and then I'm able to just woo-saw. Hmm. Yeah, so how about you?
Life has been pretty well, but hold up. Before we even talk about me, I feel like we really need to highlight what you just said because I feel like you literally it was the first or the second episode and you were I think it was the first one. You were "Oh, I'm trying to get out of retail," and boom, the third episode, you got a new
Yeah,
job.
got a new job.
What?
Yes,
Like
let's go.
okay. And I was so happy for you because you've been wanting to get out of retail and start this new journey for a minute and you've been waiting for this moment
Yes.
for a while and the fact that you've literally only applied this is just so it just happened like that and like and the job market right
Exactly.
now is not easy. So the fact that you were able to
It's
find a new job so quickly, that's such a big blessing within
mhm,
itself. So I'm so proud of
exactly.
you.
Ah, thank you. I feel so blessed.
And
I'm so happy.
and I feel like for me, I really wanted to start traveling more. This is a theme for this entire year, but I went to go see my childhood friend in Brazil and that was so fun.
Mhm.
I feel like this I think this theme for this year is peace. I think
Mm,
that's really for
I like
me.
that.
Just getting back to and focusing on myself. I did that a lot of that last year, but then I think I lost sight of
Mm,
it halfway through the year and then just life was lifing, Michaela, and I
mm.
just was not really, myself and I wasn't really truly really happy and I feel like now I'm really getting back to me and I'm really just genuinely at peace with everything. I'm not really there's
Mm,
something really truly really disturbing me. Um really really
mm.
that's a problem that I really need to feel the need to I need to confront or whatever the case is. So I'm really happy about that. And I'm getting a gym membership next week because your girl would like to start gaining weight again. And when I was gaining weight last time I was when I was fuller, I was in the gym. So I need to get back
Mm,
to that because for
mm,
all the people who are like me who are have fast metabolisms and just cannot maintain weight, yeah, the gym is where we need to be. So we're going back to the gym. And yeah, and then I also started, well, not recently started, but yeah, we're actually gonna get into it with this topic. But
Mm.
yeah, have you had any sort of like routines or anything like that so far? Or did you just kind of like taking it month by month or week by week?
I'm honestly taking it day by day, and I really like your statement about finding peace because I really think that's such a key feeling to have, especially being recent graduates and this world being crazy and unapologetic but beautiful and just overwhelming sometimes. I think it's really amazing that your focus is finding peace and just doing even the little things or big things like traveling. Being able to
Hmm.
find that, I really like admire that for you. And I would be like Julie because I'm trying to get like that.
No, because I just feel like time has been just moving so quickly. And,
Mm.
you know, like honestly, y'all, before I even get into it, I can see myself getting emotional. If I get emotional at
No.
any time point, period, in this episode, please ignore it. I have noticed that I've been like within the last year, I've noticed that I'm a very emotional person and I just cannot stop my eyes from watering. And I know I'm gonna get emotional this episode, especially with this topic. So
Mm.
I'm not gonna cry, but I'm just gonna get emotional. But please just ignore me. I just want to put a disclaimer out there. So yeah. But anyways, like back to what I was saying. I just feel like time has been moving so quickly, and I feel like we don't have a lot of time to process a lot of things. So like just
Mm.
maintaining that peace and that happiness, or at least a state of happiness, or trying to. I
Mm.
think it's the thing that I really am trying to like prioritize this year. So yeah.
Mm. Control your own happiness. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And stop and remove yourself from spaces that are not bringing you happiness or peace. Like
Yes.
we should not be doing this in 2023, you know? Because I feel like within the last couple of years, we've had so much tragedy and just so much stuff in our faces where it was really like affecting us, and we need to start prioritizing
Mm.
ourselves. Um, if you haven't already done so already, you know?
Mm.
So,
Mm.
with that being said, our topic today is church and faith. We're
Mm.
gonna get into it. Michaela and I have had lots of conversations surrounding religion. More specifically, I want to get real specific here. Christianity. Um and we are only talking about Christianity because that's what the religion that we follow, the faith that we follow. And yeah, so Michaela, do you have any disclaimers before you got anything you want to say before we start getting to these questions, these statements, all this stuff?
Yes. Um, I want to say like whatever we talk about, these are our testimonies based on what we
Mm-hmm.
have experienced. We are not trying to, dog anybody or, be disrespectful to like the faith, the church. This is just what we have experienced. And and in the end, all in all, we just want to be better human beings spiritually and physically and, you know, emotionally. And I feel like talking about it and addressing it is kind of excuse me, I can't speak. Oh my gosh, I'm getting
No, it's
emotional too.
okay.
Kind of part of the problem is that I feel like young people feel like they don't have a platform to really talk about it because they feel as if they're going to be disrespecting or um downgrading, the church, which was kind of frowned upon from doing. Like you can't question it, just do it. But we just want to show our strength and our testimonies with you guys today and hopefully help you to uplift yourself or be encouraged to like be honest with yourself and be like, yes, I feel that too. I'm not alone. Or I never really thought of it that way. Just to learn and grow with each other.
Yeah.
So,
And I really want to emphasize everything that you just said, to be honest. I feel like you were honestly the first person that I've had really in-depth conversations, especially at our age.
mm,
Um, like us going to the same school and everything like that. Like I feel like I've never I don't want to say never, but I haven't had in-depth
mm,
conversations with anybody that I really went to school with about like
mm,
like Christianity, religion, all that stuff. So it's really
mm,
nice to like have somebody like my age that I can talk to and relate to about these
mm,
issues. And especially like knowing like your background and like my background and like, like growing up going to church, all that stuff, like parents being active in church and all that stuff. Like, like I don't think that like I've
yeah.
ever met somebody who was like I guess that act well had family members or like was that active in their community and like church and
Mm,
stuff like that. So it's like really nice to have conversations, especially with you about this and like the struggles
mm,
that like we've noticed and like even have like on our own spiritual journey. So yeah.
mm,
Um
mm,
I just wanna like maybe like I think we should maybe start like off doing maybe some hot takes about the church or maybe like our
mm.
icks.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say like ick because I feel like ick is like really extremely negative, but I think that
Mhm.
everybody is going to have an ick. It's the
Mm.
reality of things, and you're not gonna go or experience or attend a perfect church, you know. So yeah, do you wanna get the ball rolling, or do you want me to go?
You can go because
Okay.
I'm still trying to pick one.
No. Um I'm gonna speak on behalf of the Haitian church because that's what I've grown up going to. And
Mm,
I honestly, this is something that I've noticed for like years and years and years. And I can honestly say that Haitian churches are not come as you are churches
mm,
where they are
mm,
welcoming, all that stuff. It is not that, truthfully. And no matter what anybody says, I will always stand on that. And
mm.
it comes from a place where it's like it's like going to church. You have a dress code. You have to have your hair a certain way. You have to dress
Yeah.
a certain way. All this stuff. It's like it's it's not even like, oh, like it might, and I think the way that I come from like looking at it is like there's been like multiple people that have visited my church that
Mm,
are not necessarily um okay, since I go to an all Haitian church, they're not Haitian. They're a different like
mhm,
culture, or they're just white. Um and
mm,
like I feel like coming from like a white church or like a different culture, you tend to like there's different ways you can dress going to church. A lot of people go to church wearing like jeans and stuff like that. And I've seen like even like the younger people like at my church that have literally gone to attended the church their entire lives. Like,
mm.
they'll come to church like with like braids, twist, like hair, just like afro, like, just like, like or earrings and stuff like that. And it's like you hear like the elders gossiping, talking about some did you see like no it's like after church too, so it's like not like in the church. It's like, did you see
Mhm.
like so and so, did you see like his hair, did you see that he got his ears pierced, what was his parents thinking, like all this stuff. It's like my thing is like you don't come to church is for the dress, like how I appear. I
Mhm.
go to church to have a relationship with God. Like
Yes.
I go to church to praise God. So why does what I'm wearing or like how I'm presenting myself matter?
Mhm. Mhm.
What is earrings going to do for my like it's like the
Mhm.
simple things like that. It's just like if I was in that person's like shoes, I would not
Mhm.
want to go back because it's like
Yeah.
you're automatically judging me for what I look like and not my character.
Mm. Mm, but yeah, hey, he said come as you are, and to tell you the truth, I, it's a harsh stereotype, but church people are the most judgmental people,
Yo, let's talk
and
about it though. Like, let's talk about it.
they are very judgmental, and that can really affect how you like even that can really affect you. Even just wanting to come to church, be like, oh, I'm feeling a certain type of way, and I don't know who to turn to. You know, I've my friend recommended that I come, but I don't have like church, the church look, as they would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't own skirts or whatever a dress, or my hair doesn't look it's dyed or whatever. I have a nose piercing, tattoos all over. Like but I don't have the church look, so I'm afraid to step in, even though, God welcomes everybody. He loves everybody and he just wants to embrace you and love you. And it's hard to do that when people physically around you start judging you when they're supposed to be a reflection of him, but they're not really, they're more, reflecting society and being judgmental. And it's just like, and then they don't come back and I feel horrible.
But I feel like also society has a big thing to do about like the way that things are because
Mm,
society automatically makes it seem as if Christians are supposed to be like this picture perfect individual
yeah.
when Christians are quite the opposite. You know, like I just don't know who said that we have to be perfect, but
Mm,
we're not. Like it's continuous like like basically like you're growing in your faith and you're
mm,
trying to be a better person, but you're not
mm.
going to be automatically like be like, oh yeah, I'm changed, I'm
Yeah.
like a perfect individual. Like it doesn't work like that.
No, it does not. It truly does not.
Have you thought of your ick yet, or your hot take?
My ick or hot take is that this is more like the singing portion of church. You don't have to like sing loudly or like belt or like do all this screaming in order to be anointed or act or seem
No.
like you're anointed. I didn't really know how to explain it, but until I saw Kurt Franklin talk to this young woman on Sunday's Best, I think it was Sunday's Best, but he was saying that he was apologizing to her and to singers like her who said that singing loud or singing like the big high notes um made it seem like if you sang like that you were more anointed than the softer or even like other types of singers who don't sing like that. And that's really like a big ick for me because everyone sings differently. I'm saying this
Mm-hmm.
because I grew up singing in the church, and we all have our different sounds, and we all like certain music being played a certain way, and if you can't sing a certain way, you weren't chosen, oh, to sing solo or to be in the choir, period, because you either sang different or you didn't have that level of like voice that they are familiar to. So that's my big ick, that like singing loudly makes you more anointed than other singers who don't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my ick. Or not ick, but that's what I'm annoyed with.
No, I definitely agree with what you're saying. Um, I also wanted to add on to that, but it's slightly different.
Hmm.
And this is, I guess, like going towards, like, I guess, our like meat of the conversation is
Hmm.
that I genuinely think that the church is more geared towards older generations instead of younger generations. Um, yeah, I really don't know what else to say about that, but I genuinely feel that way. And I think that's another reason why a lot of young people struggle with their faith. But also, let me add another ick too. Um, let me backtrack and add another ick. I think my ick though is like, um, it's just we have a lot of, I think in this generation, we have a lot of social media Christians.
That
Yo,
is very, very true.
yo, we got a lot, like, and this is no hate to anybody or anything like that, but
Mhm,
we have a lot of social media Christians, and I see like posts like, oh, I know what God I serve, and like, like,
mhm,
I do too, right?
mhm.
And
Yeah.
then we also have like those posts, and we have similar posts like that people like, oh, you can't be lukewarm Christians, like you gotta be fully like, serving
Mhm,
God, like, but like, but like, I'm just like thinking just the reality of things, like
mhm,
majority of Christians our age
mhm.
are lukewarm Christians. Like let's be for
Yes.
real.
Yes.
Let's be for real. Like
Mhm,
like I'm gonna say like personally, I guess, and this is I guess would also, I can tag team this in like the next question and stuff like that.
mhm,
But when you truly like start to build your relationship with God, you are no longer the same person as you were before.
mhm,
And this is
mhm.
also connected to like your healing journey, like what people say about your healing journey, like you will no longer attract the same people that you used to once you start working on
Talk
yourself.
about it. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I I don't know if it's wrong, but like it seems like the I don't want to say older generation, but people who were accustomed to like the older traditions just want to jumpstart and like go for the young people so fast. But you got to understand we're kind of built different.
Mm-hmm.
And things happen for a reason, and it's in God's plan. It just like it was a journey for you guys growing up, it's a journey for us. So it might take us a little longer, or like you said, healing and growing in our relationship with God might be different than how you were growing up. But you shouldn't give up on us or act like you're impatient or upset with us because we're doing one thing. Just keep praying about it and have faith that we'll come back and that we'll build our relationship with him. I don't want to say eventually, but it will happen if we want to continue to walk that path. I don't know.
And
I
let
just
me
feel like they give up on us too much.
No, I agree. But like also like I think another thing that I'm like not super, I'm not a person that will press or
Hmm.
like I guess like yeah, like I would say press or force
Hmm.
my beliefs onto others, because it literally says that like literally God knows that not everybody's going to believe in him. Like he
Yeah.
knows who is truly going to believe in him, and then just some people just won't, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Like, um so yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of things that we can get into with like the older generation and this generation, and I also genuinely feel as though that like a lot of like I don't know how to like put this into words, but like I think a lot
Hmm.
of a main reason why a lot of younger people don't believe in God is just because they were literally forced to go to church at a young age, and never were like shown how to build a relationship with God. They were just
Hmm.
they were just forced to go to church and like follow X, Y, and Z. They were like shown how to follow like this, essentially like this set of morals and all these beliefs
Hmm.
and everything like that, but they were never shown how to literally build a relationship with a higher power, like.
Hmm. Yeah.
And like that's, I think that's the big thing. It's because like if you don't have a relationship with somebody, why would you want to maintain that relationship with somebody, like it
Yeah.
literally, it's there's no point, there's no purpose there.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. I I don't know why I'm imagining, but maybe I'm not, but maybe I always thought like, oh, you're broken, like you're not, you're you're imperfect, you're broken. Here's how to, you're like, and you. this is the way that you are able to get fixed and you should stick to it. Like I always envisioned that's how it was always like a negative feeling I would get when like preachers would preach in some like I couldn't apply it to my everyday life. I always be like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I'm not I'm not good. Like I'm broke, I'm damaged goods in a sense. But I need to, turn to God immediately and he'll like fix it right away." But that's not the case. It's literally a journey. It's a journey and you will fall sometimes, but he will put you back up there. You just got to be patient and just things work out in the end.
But I feel
But just
like
don't give up.
what I think you're saying though is like I think it's really rooted into how older like preachers preach. Like they have
Mhm.
this whole like they literally stick to this idea of you're broken, all this stuff, but they're never applying it to real world examples. And that's I'm
Mm.
sorry. I'm really I feel so bad for saying this, but I can't stand older preachers. Like once you start bringing up, oh, in the 1800s, this
Ooh.
history in
Who
this history
is
like
doing
example,
that?
bro. Haitian churches, bro. Oh my gosh. Like they literally love to go back in time and be like, "Oh, like I don't know. It's like it's very much like historical, and it's like give me a
Mhm.
story that I can really apply it to and be like, oh, like it's connecting, you know. So I can literally
Mhm.
apply. If I cannot apply it to my personal life, I'm sorry. I'm clocking out of the sermon, and I'm going to try really hard to stay in like in focus. But it's going to be really hard for me because I simply can't apply it to my life, and it's
Mhm.
really bad. But that's my obviously my my experience with older preachers, and just honestly still having that mentality where like we're broken and all that stuff, and it's just maybe let's change that narrative and like not
Mhm.
obviously we you and I know like yes ultimately like against God we are broken, but um
Yeah.
changing that narrative so that younger people like at a way
Mhm.
younger age like middle school can really understand, um so they can obviously like develop that relationship with God. But
Mm.
I just want to
Mm.
ask how your spiritual journey is going.
It's going. It went on a little detour at first because um see, this is also the problem too. I feel like most of the time you can't be really honest. Like you can't really say what you want to say without hurting someone's feelings. But that's just, that's just who I am because I'm a very caring person. But on this podcast, we're just gonna tell it how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, this all started like way back in high school. Like I was, unfortunately, because I went to a school in a different state, I couldn't attend my church, the way I wanted to. I couldn't go every Sunday, um, because my school was 2 hours away, so no one was making that trip.
Yeah.
Um, and I always like kept up with my faith and everything, and I did what I was supposed to do, prayed, read my scripture, things like that. Um, and then my church was already having issues in itself, and um, we were blessed enough to be given a new pastor, and something just shifted in the church, and it got to a point where I would walk in and I would feel insecure and about like how I was holding myself in my faith and how I saw myself in my faith. And I didn't like this feeling. It was like a gut wrenching feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And my body was like, my body and my heart was like, I don't want to be here. And I hated that I was like, oh, I don't want to be here. I hated that feeling. So I finally like built up the courage to tell my parents. And thankfully enough, they were like, we understand and we want to help you and whatever you want to do, if you want to go to a new church, that's perfectly fine. It's your journey. You need to walk it the way you need to in order to get what you need. So lately I've been like watching sermons online, and shout out to, Pastor John H. Hanna and Pastor Mike Jr., they really know how to break down the word, like kind of related to this generation, which I really, really appreciate that. But it's been having its ups and downs, but I'm thankful that I'm like being consistent and staying on track and trying not to give up, you know, on my faith, because I don't play with my faith. If that's the one thing that I don't play with, it's my faith. Like, I can't have that be shaken or broken. And I'm really glad I like was honest with myself and be like, okay, Michaela, you can't come here anymore because it's kind of messing you up and your like views of God and everything like that. So that's where I am right now. What about you?
Honestly, I have not really. Okay. I I think all my life it's been like more like up and down. We've been like I've
Mhm.
had highs and lows with my relationship with God. And it's really mainly just me just not
Mhm.
being able, I guess, to trust and really let go of like, and it's not even like, and I've been thinking about this for the past couple of days because obviously we've talked about like this topic and everything like that. So I think it's just me not being able to trust
Mhm.
um fully entirely because I know myself and
Mhm.
I've known how it is to get really close with God.
Mhm.
And I feel like the last time I was really, really close with God um, was during quarantine or 2020, that
Mhm.
time frame. Um, and I think I just, during that time, I did a lot of reflecting.
Mhm.
And I did a lot of reflecting and like healing because I
Mhm.
definitely wasn't as, I thought I healed from a lot of hurt in the past and I just
Mhm.
didn't. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know when it was, but I just like was like just like thinking, reflecting, and it was just one night and I just like literally just started I'm getting emotional again. I literally just started
Talk about
bawling
God.
out crying. Like it was like literally in the middle of the night and I was just when I was like reflecting and thinking about I was like literally just bawling out crying
Mhm.
and I literally just I don't know, after that like I definitely felt like I don't know how to explain it. And this is why like I take the whole like spiritual journey very like seriously, especially if you're really trying to like build a relationship with God. Because like I know what I guess like, in a sense like how it feels like to start getting back on the road and getting closer with God. Um
Mhm.
and so
Mhm.
like after that like I don't know how, like I don't I like to say that it was like a euphoric feeling or like just like a long period of peace. Um
Mhm.
because after that like I genuinely don't think I really had a lot of like issues, no like major things that like were really concerning for me like and
Mhm.
after that I really just started focusing on myself and also really refraining from a lot of things. And that's why like
Mhm.
um I like I stopped listening to like secular music. And if you know what that secular music
Mhm.
is, the definition of that, great. If you don't, I'm
Yeah.
just yeah. But and started listening to like more like Christian music and that's why my Christian playlist is like over 10 hours long because that's literally what I was
No,
all
same.
listening to at that
Same.
point. And I just really refrained from like a lot of stuff. Um
Mhm.
and it was it was really nice and I also started like doing daily devotionals. That's why like I put on the because we have
Mhm.
y'all we have an itinerary when we have the podcast. But I started doing like daily devotionals and it's crazy because I had that book. It's called, well, the devotional is called Jesus Calling. It's the pink edition because she has multiple different
Mhm.
editions, but it's the pink edition is more is enjoying peace in his presence. And it really just breaks down like, you know, what God does and like how he's trying to be there for you. And sometimes you're not always letting
Mm.
him in. And like also like it has a devotional part and then like scriptures. Um and it's crazy because somebody gave me that book um in high
Oh,
school.
really?
Yeah, in high school. And it took me about maybe I want to say like a couple of years, like maybe like 3 4 years for me to actually end
Hmm.
up I ended up buying when I started like in 2020. I ended up buying the book on my phone so I can like do the
Hmm.
devotionals um before I was you're supposed to do them in the morning, but I always did them at night before I went to bed.
Night.
But at least I'm doing the devotionals. That's what it was.
Exactly.
But um but yeah, I think it's crazy because for me, like I got the book so long ago and I refused to really like open the book. Like
Mm.
I really was not I really didn't care, to be honest, to have a relationship with God. Like I you know, like I think it wasn't like I didn't care, but it was not my priority. Like
Yeah.
I was really trying to live in the moment, you know, do like I guess live like a quote unquote worldly life, but like not really like
Hmm.
my version of it. Cause I'm not I don't do all the X, Y, and Z, but like you know what I'm like I was just trying to
Mm.
like have fun. And
Yeah.
um but yeah, and I think that like during that time, like I really was genuinely so at peace with life. Like I was really chilling. And
Mm.
you know, then I lost that. I don't really know quite what happened, but I think I just kind of slowly just stopped doing the devotionals, stopped really praying a lot, um and then last year before I before we moved back into school, I think that's
Hmm.
when I started praying more. And I literally prayed every single night before we went to bed. And like it's not even like I had like a I don't think last year truthfully I had a super super strong relationship with God, but I was trying to remain like be consistent in my prayer life and try to build up that moment. And
Hmm.
then yet again I lost that. But that's definitely on me because I definitely lost track of like my like of where I was trying to go. Like I met certain
Hmm.
people and then like halfway through the year last year and like Michaela, you probably could connect the dots at this point, and then like life started happening and I was just like
Hmm.
and then yeah. Um and now I'm trying to build that back up and I've opened the book like again. Um
Yes.
and started doing devotionals again. And yeah, I think that's really how my spiritual journey is going. It's not always, sometimes I do forget to pray, but I definitely
Mm.
try
Yeah.
to.
Hmm.
I feel like that's the reality of things. Like we're gonna forgetting to pray and stuff like that, but I definitely do. But that's literally that's my spiritual journey. I definitely try to pray, but yeah, that's my spiritual journey, and I don't think I've ever shared that out loud with anybody because I don't really talk about this stuff. Like I really just
Yeah.
I think that my relationship with God is something between me and Him,
Hmm.
and yeah, I don't really feel as though many people should know, or not that like I am like in a way like any ashamed or anything like that, but it's like
Hmm.
I just don't like people questioning me. I think that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So but yeah.
Yeah. There's like three things that I really admired about what you said. The first one was you kind of like taking a step back and letting your journey be more focused on you and God. Because I think a lot of people like surround themselves with being in the community and going to church and like, Sunday dinners and community outreach, about being about like the church as a whole, that like we forget to step back and just have like a one-on-one with, God and yourself, and kind of really building that relationship because, you know, in a relationship, it's about one plus one equals
Mhm.
the two of you. So I really condone you for like trying to like come back because that's what I'm trying to do as well. Is just really focus on me and him and what he wants me to do and try to ignore the outside like gnawing gnats coming at me and things like that. The second one was um what you said about like kind of, you know, being more focused on the music because I will be honest, like I don't pray like every day, but if I do little things that kind of pull me back and humble myself and bring me back to that state of mind of like, okay, this is for you, I'm doing this for you, so that I can find joy and peace in myself with you by my side. I really like admire that about you. And, you know, we just learning from each other. And the third thing is like being open about it because, like you said, I don't want people judging me based on like my journey, but it's mine. So I really shouldn't be ashamed. But it's hard to open up with people and also like open up with God and being honest with Him. Because lately I've grown up to think, oh, I'm supposed to like tell him I love him and praise his name. But sometimes I'd be mad at him. And last year, 2022, oh, I was mad for reasons Julie knows, but I was upset. And I kind of was like honest with myself and I literally like yelled at him in my prayers be like, "Yo, what was this about? Why'd you do this to me?" But it kind of like made me feel a little better. Not a little, it made me feel better immensely. So, I like that idea of like being open. And plus, this might help someone in the end, like our testimonies about our journey to like be honest with themselves.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like also like kind of like what you just said about like yelling at him. I just feel like people like and like also like I guess like prayer and like also like just like having to like think about like prayer as like always praising him. Like I don't think
Mhm.
that people realize that prayer is literally just a conversation with God. And sometimes like and like also during my devotional like one of like the days I think it's like
Mhm.
it's a day in January. Um,
Mhm.
it talks about like how like like it's okay to like basically have your mind wander while you're praying, and that's a very real thing where you just start praying and then you start thinking about
Like
you need to go to Target, you forgot about the shoes you were wearing yesterday,
so
like like it's a very real thing and it's okay. Like you
Mhm.
just sometimes you just gotta refocus like on what
Mhm.
you're like praying about and like refocus your relationship with God again. But I really just like how you said like it's really just a conversation. Like your relationship with
Mhm.
God, it doesn't have to be as complicated as what everybody makes it seem to be.
Exactly.
Like, and I think that's what like society try to makes it seem like parental figures, family figures, people in the church try to make it seem as if it has to be so complicated, but it really doesn't have to be like that. Um,
Mhm.
And yeah, I don't know. I think that my spiritual journey has been up and down. Hopefully, we can get back on track again this year and start praying consistently because I was really consistent last year, but I was stressed. I was stressed last year, and you know that, Michaela. Like I had multiple mental breakdowns, but I genuinely think that I don't think I would be able to say that. Like, and the way that I was busy last year too, like I don't think I would have been able to like get through all of that stuff if I didn't
Mm.
have God, because I was just like
Mm.
that stuff was just over my head, like at some points, and I felt like I just could not even function.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just want to really just emphasize that your relationship with God is your relationship with God. And please do not make anybody else feel like well I should say like please don't make anyone else feel like your relationship with God is like
Mhm.
not as what it needs to be, or like whatever the case is. So yeah. Um I just want to get your thoughts on the church today. Do you think it's thriving, struggling? What do you think? Where do you think the church is heading right now?
I think the church is really trying when I say church, I mean churches that I've been to, conventions I've been to, things like that. I
You've
think
been
they're
to
really trying.
conventions?
Yeah, sis grew up going to conventions.
Okay,
Yep.
girl.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
You better than me.
Um, we went around, not around the world, but my mom grew up going to conventions a lot. She's been states, a lot of states. But
Mm-hmm.
they're really trying to kind of relate or accommodate us young folks. And honestly, I feel like they're generally trying to listen to what we have to say. Um, do some of them listen well? Probably not. Uh, um, but I generally think that they're trying, and seeing I'm not in the room where it happens, like making decisions on like, oh, what should we talk about today? Like, what program should we do today? I like they're on Facebook and Instagram, and like we have preachers on Twitter and like sending out their prayers and comments and stuff, and like we have comedians who are in the church, making jokes about church and things like that, kind of like uplifting, and that's great and all, but like I don't know, I feel like they haven't gotten to the hard truth of it, or maybe I haven't seen it, or like the hard, like struggling truth of why things are the way they are. And I'm not saying every generation is perfect, and clearly I haven't lived, like I'm not 1,000 years old, so I haven't like seen a perfect world, but maybe we could listen better, and maybe we could thrive better, is how I would sum it up.
Honestly, honestly, I feel like the quite opposite, to be completely honest. I think that church is
Mm.
struggling a lot. I think that a lot of churches are trying to be like mega churches or like super
Mm.
big franchises, like where it's like more social media based.
Mm.
Like I don't know, like I guess it kind of goes back to your point about like, singing loudly does not mean that you're anointed and all that stuff. Like from what I've
Mm.
seen, like from like social media and like certain churches, is just it's just the idea of like you gotta be like up in your. It's like it's almost like a TV show. Like everybody's
Mm.
like always high energy, like all this stuff, and it's just like you don't have to do all that to feel closer to God. I don't know. From what I've seen, it definitely feels like that. And
Mm.
I'm not a person where am I'm not an in your face type of person. So when I see certain stuff like that, I'm just kind of like, okay, dot 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 dot. Like I'm really
Mm.
not into this.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I just that's what I see. That's what I feel as though like I get it. Like certain things, like for the social media aspect, like you're trying to invite like the younger people and all that stuff, but
Mm.
like a lot of it is just so like ah like I don't know. It's just so like the energy is so here, like always here, and in
Mhm.
reality, the energy is not
It's
always
not.
here in the church, and it doesn't need to
No.
be.
It could be crickets, silence. It's like, can I get an amen? But crickets, because they're like, huh? What?
And it's like I feel like also like too like some churches aren't even preaching.
Mm.
Like they
Mm.
aren't even having a sermon. Like they have I don't know. They have videos going on during the sermon time like and it's like we come to church to hear the word and we're like we're singing songs and stuff like that, but it's like we're not hearing the word. Why aren't we hearing
Mm.
the word? What's going on? I don't know. I just think that a lot of like right now it's very much social media based.
Mhm.
And we need to get back, like you said, to the roots, to the actual
Yeah.
core of like spreading the word, and that's just not happening. Maybe this is connected to why a lot of people, like a lot of young people, are so like social media, such social media Christians, instead
Yeah,
of actually like forming a relationship with God and everything like that. Um,
yeah. They're like learning their own way. And that's okay to ask questions and things like that, but like they're turning to social media kind of for the answers and not, the church itself because they feel like they'll treat them a certain type of way.
hmm
Who knows?
yeah,
It's hard out here.
no, literally. Anyways, that being said, and talking about it's hard out here, why do you think young people like us struggle with the church today? I feel like this is a hefty question because there's a lot of things.
Um, One, I feel like there's judgment, and two, I feel like so much in society is opposite of the church that it's hard
Especially
to step.
nowadays.
Yes, that it's hard to kind of like open yourself to be welcomed in the church. And I don't know, but I feel like maybe young people feel like they're not going to be heard, um, because if they don't do a certain thing right on the spot, or um they don't like fully commit right like every single day, that there's something wrong with them, like, oh, you can't be a Christian because you don't pray every day, you don't fast every day, or you know if they're not being like strictly obedient, then there's something wrong. And maybe that's why they lack trying to have a relationship, because they they know them themselves, or they're afraid that they can't be like wholly or like fully committed. And
For me,
it's baby steps. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I agree with what you're saying. I also want to add that I think that a big part of it is that like pretty much like the first point that you said, that like everybody's trying to be like quote unquote like in the cut. Like
Mhm.
everyone wants to be doing X, Y, and Z. Everybody wants to be partying. And I think it also has to do with like the lack of like young people that actually like want a relationship with God and like have a relationship with God, because there's not a lot of people nowadays that are like that. Um
Mhm.
and so like every I feel like a lot of people love like going to the clubs. A lot of people like smoking. A lot of people like drinking. Like it's just, like I feel like you can't be both. you
Mhm.
you can't you can't be on the like I sound like those older preachers, but it's true. Like you
Yeah.
can't be in the club on Saturday night and then show up to church at 10 a.m. Like, like it's it's really, well, I don't know. I don't, maybe you can, but I don't
Yeah.
know. But it's like, but I really I think it's like people don't want to get out of that lifestyle.
Mhm.
People really love the the lifestyle of just having fun, choosing them, being in the now.
Mhm.
People love being in the now. And I don't, and like there's nothing wrong with that, but like I think that's a big reason why a lot of people struggle to have a relationship with God and stuff like that, and like actively or I should say consistently go to church.
Mhm.
Um, because I've seen a lot of people, they quote unquote, because honestly I don't know what their lives are like now,
Mhm.
or relate their relationship with God, but they quote unquote take their life seriously and get water baptized. And
Not the
why
water
have
bottle.
the water baptism? Because we're both, are you Baptist?
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I'm
Protestant,
Pentecostal.
but
Pentecostal. Yeah.
Protestant. I think that's under the same. umbrella as Protestant. So like when you start taking your
Oh,
life
okay.
serious, when you start taking
Yeah.
your like your relationship with God seriously, like you have to like do the water baptism.
Mhm.
You guys do that?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. The tub,
Okay.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're on the same page. Okay, we
Yeah.
were a little
Yeah.
slow, but but yeah, I've seen a lot of people do that, my age or like well not now. This is years
Mhm.
ago. A couple of years ago, so maybe like 4 years ago. Um Going into college more so and or like maybe 3 years ago. And I had never seen them come back to church ever.
Oh.
Y'all still live in Massachusetts last time I checked.
Oh.
Like and it's
Oh.
like it's not like I'm judging y'all, but it's like I think that from what I've seen also too, like it's like a lot of people like being in the cut.
Mhm.
Like and two, I think that a lot of people struggle with the church today is because like or at least taking that next step and actually be consistent with it is the only reason that they took that step is because they took that step for their parents and not
Right.
actually for themselves.
Mhm.
But in reality and to their and within their hearts, they wanted to be outside, they wanted to be doing X, Y, and Z. And I feel like that's like for me at least, like I don't want that. Like I
Mhm.
would like um and I feel like I sound like I'm comparing, and it's like it's not like what I'm trying to do. It's like
Mhm.
I'm just pointing out the struggle. I hope people understand what I'm trying to like get across is that like
Mhm.
from what I've seen, like people just want to be in the cut, and like
Mhm.
people don't actually really want to have an actual relationship, at least right now, with God.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I genuinely feel like that, and I don't not that I don't blame them because
Mhm.
being in the cut and doing X, Y, and Z, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's genuinely fun. Um,
Yeah.
but that like fun period is going to end after a while.
Very soon. Yeah. And they talk about it like have your fun and all that stuff, but like an everlasting joy and peace of mind is something that I really want to hold on to. And, I truly believe that my like faith in God will like take me there. But I like to have fun too, and I I shouldn't be ashamed as long as I like come back and humble myself and be like, okay, I know what I did and I'm very sorry for that. You know, it's just it's I feel like it's very hard for young people to balance
Mm-hmm.
and in fact sacrifice, like you said, the fun moments, the good like one time enjoyment for they know this long period of like commitment and patience. Because like you ask him for something, he's not gonna give it to you. Like he might, but like it won't happen in a day.
And let me also preference this. I'm not saying that you can't engage in these activities at
Yeah.
all. Like obviously that I'm not God. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not be the one to judge you or like tell you something that you can't do. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
more so thinking you are engaging these activities and then forgetting or not even having a relationship with God. Like in these circumstances, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, you know, while you grow in your faith, you just kind of over like I said earlier, you kind of stop you the desire to do certain things, it just stops. You
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
that desire to do a lot of the things. Like example, um before 2020 before I had that like period of time when I was like really really close with God, I would say I was down to drink.
Mm.
Like I'm not gonna lie, like I we loved a nice drink, and after that I really didn't have a desire. Like I don't know, like it was like a shift.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really sharp shift. Like I don't really care to drink heavily um
Mm.
anymore. And if I do, it's like disgusting, and I don't actually drink for like maybe like months.
Mm,
after because it's just like I don't know. Like I feel like this is also coming when I had the I guess the revelation you can call it. Um
mm,
it was like freshman year when I was like drinking. Like it was like, college, all that stuff. Like I wanted to be on all the festivities. And then it and then I got closer with God and then I just
mm,
didn't care to.
mm,
After that I didn't care to like drink heavily or like go out really. Like I mean going out is like nice once in a blue
yeah,
moon. But I really
yeah.
like Michaela can even tell you, I really did not really care to. Like I really didn't like I'll go, but like I really didn't care to. Like I'll go because like other people were going, but I really didn't have like a crazy desire to be
Mm.
outside. Like
You're like, okay, I'll go. Yeah.
yeah, I really wasn't. But anyways, going back to the question, I feel like my thoughts are like everywhere, but I think this is how the
Hmm.
podcast is just gonna be. And I'm not gonna edit
Yeah.
any of this, to be honest, because I think the thoughts are just all over the place, regardless. But,
Hey, we're here to talk about it.
no, literally. And I feel like, but I just genuinely feel like a lot of people just want to be in the cut and just want to be enjoying the now. Um,
Mm,
and once you really take that step, it's not like you can't enjoy the now, but it's like that desire to, that fire just kind of goes away.
mm,
And like, why would you want to like take that step if you're not ready to? Like,
hmm. That makes sense. It's your
and two,
journey and you're taking it.
mm-hmm. And like
Period.
two, like highlighting what you said earlier, I think another reason why young people struggle with the church today is just because of finding the right church. And this is kind of like connecting to like the thoughts of like my my views on like why the church is struggling like because the church is so focused on older generations, there's not a lot of churches that are focused on the younger generation and how to connect the
Mm,
word in order for us to apply it to our lives.
mm. And if you do find that church is probably states
Yeah.
away, don't
So
have
it's just
access.
it's really like a lose lose situation.
Yeah, very
Um
much.
this is this is really interesting though because I'm not sure if we have ever talked about this.
Mm.
Do you believe in spiritual abuse?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I do, especially like the mental part, um, because if you know how you like function mentally as a human being and something has been said that makes you question like your thoughts and how you feel about yourself, it could generally negatively affect your view of the church and how you view yourself and how you think God views you if you are said something.
Mm,
Um, like unfortunately, there is physical spiritual abuse going around in some churches. Um, but and that's horrible in itself. But I feel like the mental state people really don't generally talk about, um, because it's. I'm assuming it's like the preacher's job to like know its community, know its congregation, and know how it functions and its people. And I'm assuming that's how they, plan out their word and what they're gonna say. But if you like generally don't like really understand, truly understand like what that person's going through, and I understand you're supposed to like broaden it and make it more like open minded, but if you know how you function as a person, and I'm talking to myself personally, then what's being said or how they treat you could really affect how you view yourself and your relationship with God. So yeah,
hmm.
I generally believe in spiritual abuse.
You see, like I really didn't understand like what spiritual abuse was until
Mm-hmm.
like now that you just explained that truthfully, because I don't think I've ever witnessed anyone
Mm-hmm.
um who who's had spiritual abuse. I've witnessed like religious trauma. I don't I
Mm-hmm.
mean it's almost the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but slightly different. But it's more so like from what I'm getting from you is like more so like you're listening to a sermon and it's like almost kind of like attacking you.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, um and now that I actually also rephrased it that way, I definitely think that's definitely that
Mm-hmm.
definitely does happen in Haitian churches. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, and this is also maybe potentially connecting to another reason why I don't think that Asian churches are like welcoming to all different types of people. Um, yeah, wow. I don't think we've ever talked about spiritual abuse and like how that can really like make someone
Mm-hmm.
essentially completely walk away from the church.
Mm-hmm. And like they don't even have to say your name, but if you know you've done certain things that they're
Mm-hmm.
describing and it makes you feel a certain type of way, and if you're like your hold on God is not as strong as it used to be or as strong as it can be, then you could like it could loosen up, it can unravel, and that could generally like not put you in the right mind. And I'm so thankful that I'm in my right mind and that I've like haven't tethered away. And I have good supporting people around me that I'm able to talk about this to because I think it is good to talk about it and be like, hey, this service or someone said something to me that made me feel a type of way in the church is not acceptable because I'm supposed to be at home. This is supposed to be my second home. This is supposed to be where I'm supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
safe and protected and feel loved by people who generally are loving the same person that I'm loving. And, you know, if I can't feel that, then what am I doing here? I'm just going to go find it somewhere else. So, I don't know. I feel like a lot of churches don't talk about spiritual abuse.
No, I agree. Um, I now that like, yeah, I definitely agree that that is a lot of. I think that stuff kind of just gets swiped under the rug.
Hmm.
Um, and like obviously everyone who has experienced like spiritual abuse and like trauma, like I can only I like hope that you guys find everyone finds healing
Hmm.
within that, because I definitely also like I guess connecting to it. I've heard of people who have experienced trauma, like religious trauma, where like I get like it's I'm not gonna compare, but where it's like they were raised in a household where it's like you have to follow these morals, and if you don't follow these morals, it's almost as if you're going to hell.
Hmm.
And it's so and essentially it's almost like living in a box.
Yeah.
And if you slightly step towards that box, or you like step outside of the box, it's like
Mm.
you're deemed as a horrible person. And I
Yeah.
honestly can see how that can affect um someone's like religious like relationship with
Mm.
God. Um but I also feel as though like people don't realize that also like your relationship with God is also, again, especially the Bible, it's really based on off of interpretation.
Yes. Yes. Yes, it is.
And people don't talk about that.
No, no, they really don't.
we can all interpret something completely different. And I feel like a lot of the times, especially society likes to, well, at least for Christianity, like interpret a lot of the things negatively, and it's not Christianity. Like no religion is bad.
Mm,
Like no religion like spreads negativity or hate. It's really just the people who are serving and who are potentially spreading like
mm,
hate, and just that negativity while they're like like preaching the word and everything like that. Um, so yeah, and I think that's another reason why people in general struggle with the church.
hmm. They have their own interpretations that might not, fully connect, or it's like hurting, hating, and it's not okay.
Hmm. What are your thoughts on secular and Christian music? I know I talked about this earlier, but I know we both of us have a Christian playlist, or
Mm.
gospel playlist, whatever you would like to call it. I call mine a meditation. I actually named it meditation playlist because it's very like,
Oh, for real? Ah.
because literally, like you said earlier about like loud in your face like
Mm.
music, you don't have to listen to or sing that type of music to feel anointed. And I feel as though a lot of my songs are very much chill, and
Mm.
I think that's basically because I listen to a lot of R&B, and like it's very like slow, relaxed, chill. So yeah, but what are your
Uh,
thoughts?
Shout out to definitely like the chill vibes, because I remember I was going through something and you recommended a song, and I have it on my playlist to this day, and I just love it because I always grew up with like the loud choir, you know, um like big voices. Uh so it was different to hear this like different form of Christian music, and I loved it. And I'm like leaning more towards that type of music. It's a balance, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm adding more of like your meditating like vibe, R&B vibe Christian music, which I love. Because it really makes you like get in tuned and like focus on the words. Not saying that I didn't focus on the words in like my like music I grew up with. Um, but this like actually makes you like kind of relax and just chill and just focus, which I love. But I will admit, your girl here, she loves any type of music. You recommend a song to me, I'll listen to it, have my thoughts, but I generally listen to Christian music more than other types of music. When I say, okay, I feel like there's secular and then there's like not secular and then there's
Girl,
Christian music.
it's
Does that make
once it's not
sense?
Christian, it's secular.
It's secular. Ugh,
Yeah.
okay. 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 It's so hard because I'm a big fan of music, and it's like a big part of my family. Like my dad was in a church band growing up. My mom was in the choir growing up. I was in the choir growing up. I'm still growing, but back then. Um I love them both equally. So it's so hard. When we talk about my faith, I gotta turn to Christian music because it's there to like lift me up. Um And at times, if I want to pump myself up, I'll listen to other music that's not Christian. But I love my Christian music because it's there to uplift me and make me feel better. And, if I can't remember a scripture, like majority of the time, scriptures are in the Christian songs. So there's that. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Because I'm conflicted.
I'm not gonna lie, I definitely listen to a lot of secular music. I'm
Hmm.
not even gonna lie. I'm like, yeah, I listen to a lot of secular, but I listen like I guess like the genre I listen to is more so like R&B, um,
Hmm.
like R&B like neo soul. Is that what it is?
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely listen to secular music. I do listen to my Christian music playlist, like my meditation
Mm-hmm.
playlist, but not as often as I used to.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I still listen to it. Um, but I don't know. I don't. Okay, this is my thoughts though. I don't think that secular music is entirely horrible, is entirely
mm,
bad. It's just that I think it gets to a point where it's influencing you. Because I feel like
mm,
music does have an influence on you and an influence on your state of mind. You know, you feel peace when you're listening to
mm-hmm.
Christian music and stuff like that. And like when you listen to like trap, rap, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
you feel a type of like emotion, whether it's like not like anger, but like you're feeling a little more tense.
Mm-hmm.
R&B, like you're feeling a little bit like I guess sad or
Yeah.
happy, like Um, I think like it's good to have doses of each, but I guess I would say be careful of how much of a dose
Mm-hmm.
that you're taking in. And that's a thing. That's the same thing with alcohol.
Mm,
I've seen a lot of people on TikTok, on Christian TikTok, um, be like they have stopped drinking alcohol because of that's just what they're called to do and everything like that. And people like argue back and forth whether it's okay to have drink alcohol or not.
mm-hmm.
Um, my personal opinion is that I think it's okay to drink alcohol as long as
Mm,
you're not over indulging in alcohol.
mm-hmm.
Like once you get to a point where you're not in the same state of mind and you cannot like you know like you're
Yeah.
not here, that's a problem. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're consistently doing that, that's a
Yeah.
problem. um so I think it's just more so being careful of the dosing, like the amount of something that you take in. But going back to music,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that um secular music is bad. I just would be careful of how much I'm
Yeah.
listening, or to I would say more so certain people I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I was about to ask, but that has nothing to do with this topic. The question I was about to ask.
Like, oh, it doesn't have anything to do with like Christianity or anything. Okay,
No,
we can
it
talk about it
doesn't.
after.
We can talk about this another time.
Okay.
But but okay. I feel a little better about like I like what you said about, balancing them out, and there's nothing wrong with like sexual music. It's just how you kind of how it, and like you said, influences your life. Um, but I'm still consistent with my daddy's rule: church music on Sundays, nothing else.
Period.
I
Period.
listen I listen to church music like every other day too, but on Sundays it's all about that church life.
But yeah, do you have any other final thoughts as we are about to wrap up?
Um, just a reminder, it's about you and God. Like, don't be, you know, listening to other people and like their judgment, even if they're giving you judgy looks or their words, really affect you. Just always like remind yourself that, you know, you're loved, I'm sure, if you like really, really think about it, you have a good support system and that, God's always like here for you. Um, and he loves you and he'll be there for you when you need him. He's always there right on time. But it's about you and him, and as you like growing in your journey, just like don't give up on yourself and don't give up on him. And if you fall, you're going to get right back up. It might take a minute, It might take a day, it might take a month, it might take a year, but you'll get back. You'll feel this need to be fulfilled and feel full, and everything will be okay. It works out for your good in the end.
Hmm. And I also wanted to add, like, if you know that you're a person that, like, I wouldn't say like I would say like more fragile. Like maybe find
Mm,
like a support system, like or like a friend or like someone in your family that you can really confide into, like that also is on this journey of like building a relationship with God. So you guys can walk together on your spiritual
mhm,
journey so you don't have to be alone. It's a walk, not a race. And
mm,
like this happens, it doesn't happen like overnight, and that you're going to be like rowing. So especially like for young people that like are in the cut or like want to like or still like struggling like with like I guess their quote unquote worldly life and like spiritual life, like it is a journey. It is okay.
mhm,
Like you're going to heal, quote unquote heal. Like I said earlier, and like a lot of the things that you used to be like into, you're just slowly going to like just not be into it, and that's okay because you're literally
mhm,
growing as an individual, and you're if you're growing, like you're automatically going to be changing, and you don't want to be a stagnant person. You never want to be that person. So it's okay to be uncomfortable. And yeah, Michaela, do you have a book recommendation for us?
I sure do. So, if y'all looking for any affirmations or just statements to make you feel good about yourself and about faith, look up 101 God Given Kimformations by Kimberly J. Oliver. You can find this book on Amazon. It's very good, like feel good, giving you affirmations of the day. There's 101, so you'll have enough for a couple weeks. But check that book out, and also we have another book recommendations that I'll have Julie recommend because I believe this is her book that she's been reading.
Yeah, this is the devotional that I was talking about earlier. It's called Jesus Calling. It's the pink edition, the one that I read, but there's other editions that you obviously can find that is more fit for like what you're looking for on this journey. But the pink edition is Enjoying Peace in His Presence, and it's by Sarah Young. You can get this on like iBooks, um, on at Barnes and Noble, Amazon, literally anywhere. Um, and yeah, I also have some music recommendations from my meditation playlist. I have Soul
Hey.
Ties by Young C, featuring Aldre. I'm not sure if I pronounced that wrong. Sorry if I did. Higher by Ryan Ward, Jubilee by Maverick City Music, because I love me some Maverick City Music. They were on my
Yes,
top five for last year for my Spotify Wrapped, and I was like, okay, go ahead,
I
Julie.
love that. I love that.
Faithful by Elevation Worship and Waymaker by Leland. Faithful, I think I cried to that on Sunday, so that was a beautiful
Oh,
song. There's just some songs that you just be listening to, and it's just like, dang, that just gave me a lot of
absolutely.
peace. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this podcast episode for this week. I hope you guys can come back and watch the next episode in about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Leave a comment on our Instagram post. Follow us on all our social media accounts. And yeah, bye guys.
Peace. Bye.